Howdy there, Internet. Welcome to Nerd Night Perspectives. I'm John. I'm here with Matt, and we are here to talk to you about some of the stuff we've seen lately, just some of the stuff that's relevant now, or just whatever we really feel like talking about. I guess we'll start off with I saw, and I wasn't expecting to see. It was one of those things where it like just kind of popped up on my thing, and I checked it out, and I liked it. It was called Somewhere in Queens.
Queens? What's that?
Yeah, and it's this movie featuring Ray Romano.
Oh.
And his struggles with like his relationship with his son, and the whole movie throughout has like this dark cloud kind of hanging over it. You know, it's hard to describe. I'm trying not to give spoilers, but it's just it was heartfelt. It was darker. I was shocked how dark it was because Ray Romano. I mean, we all have such good memories with Everybody Loves Raymond. You know.
Yeah.
Not
me. I've never seen Everybody Loves Raymond, to be honest.
TBS Channel 13, 6 or 7 o'clock at night, man.
I only know Ray Romano as Manny from Ice Age.
Oh, that's hilarious. I mean, of course, Manny, but I mean, Everybody Loves Raymond. I watched that since I was like 4 or 5 years old. You know, it's I don't know, it's just a typical family movie. You know, the dumb husband and the angry wife and the brother who he's jealous of, or they both compete against each other for their parents' attention. You know, the mean grandpa and the sassy but generous grandma. You know, but we all know Ray Romano. It was dark for what it was, where it was coming from, but it also I think touched on some good subjects, and I don't know. It was a surprise, but a welcome one for sure. You know.
What is it? What are the subjects you think it really kind of talks about the most that you felt meaningful?
Well, I mean, even just his struggles with his son and his relationship with him. I mean, even in the very beginning, it becomes painfully obvious that he isn't as involved in his son's life as maybe either he should be, or at least probably as much as he would like to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like his son has a girlfriend, and they didn't even know it. You know, stuff like that. You know, is struggling. We're talking about colleges and scholarships and basketball, and whether he wants to play basketball for college and or even go to college, and just you know what I mean. It's just like the way I'm describing it sounds so plain Jane, but I promise you, the movie, the way it does it. I don't know. It touches a little more, and like I said, there is a shadow lingering throughout, and I don't know. I recommend watching it, plain and simple, without trying to give away too much more of that. If you like Ray Romano, freaking watch his freaking movie.
Yeah, I like Ray Romano, man. More recent stuff I've seen him in, I have liked.
I know I talked on this last time, but he was in Bupkis, and I just freaking I don't know. I just kind of brought that up, you know, excluding me talking about Everybody Loves Raymond because he does that in the thing. He's on someone else's like account and ends up buying like all the Everybody Loves Raymond off of someone else's account intentionally, and just like he's all high and shit and just binge watches Everybody Loves Raymond and gets all these trips about Ray, but he's an asshole to him and is.
Wait a minute. So like, is he playing himself in this?
In Bupkis.
Oh, in Bupkis.
Ray Romano. In Bupkis, he plays himself.
Oh my god!
as both Pete Davidson's hallucinations, and then of course reoccurring dreams and stuff of Ray Romano, and then he also does play himself at other points too. But in this one, he does not play himself per se.
Okay.
But I don't know. Just for what it was just. I don't know. I never heard anything about it. Never saw a trailer. You know.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'll give it a shot. I'll see. What is it on?
Netflix.
Netflix.
I'm pretty sure it was on Netflix.
Yeah, dude, I'll give it a shot, dude. I'll look into that. So, I recently the new season of Invincible has just come out with its first episode as of now. And I just kind of rewatched the first season where Anita watched it for the first time. Oh, dude, that show. Have you been watching Invincible? Been keeping up on it at all?
I don't think I've ever even heard of it, dude.
Oh, it's
What is it?
it's the best. I think it's the best like superhero kind of content you can get right now. Like it has,
Really?
yeah, it has so much like subversion of a lot of tropes, but it does it in a way that's like it's very loving of comic books. Like um, it's very like all the characters in there are very well thought out. All their arcs, their stories. There's always more to them in a certain way. Like there's a big meme storm on the
I was
show.
gonna say I'm looking him up right now on IMDb, and I recognize that guy,
You recognize?
the older gentleman
Yeah, that's
in the
J.K.
suit.
Simmons playing Omni Man. And so when I first watched this show, I heard word of mouth about it, like kind of like, oh, it's good, it looks good. It was like it's like an adult, or it's like a comic book like superhero show for animated for adults. And the first episode, I was like, man, this is pretty good. It seemed very like kind of like more geared for kids. I thought this was meant for adults. And at the end of the episode, there's like the post credits scene or mid credits scene, and holy shit, dude, it just takes off, dude. Like it goes crazy. It is violent, gory. It takes everything that this whole first episode was setting it up, and it flips it on its head. Everything you know is completely thrown out of whack, and it just hooked me in from there. And every part of it, things like where it'd just be like villain of the week kind of things like that, they end up tying in or like having their own kind of plot lines branching out from that. So every episode does have like meaning to it. Every conflict has like some level of meaning to it, and I really enjoy it. And the second season, it's already kind of gripping with a lot of like the emotions and stuff of what was going on in the first season and really building upon that foundation. I cannot wait for the next episode to come out.
Yes. I might have to check that. I do like that. I mean, I feel like comics and stuff like that are like something that were marketed at kids way back in the day, but a lot of the kids now, I feel like follow it less, but the main audience is actually adults.
Mm,
And a lot of those things have kind of branched off into a more mature audience. You know, we see that with the Harley Quinn show.
yeah, yeah, it has.
You know, kind of finally giving you what you want. You know, you want these characters to say "fuck you" and stuff. You know, you want these characters. You want there to be a little blood when shit goes down. You know.
Yeah, well, it's like they have like this sense of like when you have like superheroes and they have these incredible powers and they're doing things that are just beyond physical limitation. Like when you see Superman like fly into somebody going like Mach 5, that person should fucking explode, right? Like
Right.
he shouldn't be able to catch them. And they have shit like that in this where it's like it's that realism where the real gritty stuff of being a superhero, there's always feels like the stakes are real, Because I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say there isn't like a lot of plot armor. There is some level of plot armor, but it makes sense, and it never makes you feel like the stakes are gone. The stakes are still high, and it's not just a character being killed. It's like, how is this going to change this character's worldview from this?
Yeah.
They're very efficient with their storytelling, making every thing that is happening in there meaningful, and it's very mature with it. And it feels like very comic booky too. Like they got really unique costume designs that are very much like from a comic book. They're not afraid to be comic booky, and they are not afraid to be funny too. They have a lot of comedy in there and silliness. Um, but Invincible really kind of excels where I feel like a lot of other superhero content is lacking. Now, The Boys also really good too at this, the realism of it, but it's not getting quite as it's not quite as embracing the love of comics as much as I think Invincible is.
No, that's fair. I just sent you this one. We'll probably put it up in editing, but that younger man,
So that's
the yellow.
yeah, that's Invincible. That's the main characters.
Okay.
That's voiced by Steven Yeun, who
Yeah. Go on.
he was Glenn in The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just trying to point out that his design is pretty similar to Wolverine a little bit, if I may say so.
Oh yeah, the color scheme. Yeah. But
yeah, it is mostly the color scheme.
Yeah, when you sent me that picture of Wolverine, like in all the movies, like with Wolverine in them, he's never wearing his classic comic book outfit. He's always wearing like black or something like that. Which a lot of like mainstream movies, they don't really do the whole accurate comic book look. They do what looks cool,
Right.
And in this, because it's animated too, it doesn't look as silly.
It's a different medium. Yeah.
They can do things with the colors to make it fit more into the storyline or into the setting. I mean.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool though. I'm definitely gonna have to check out Invincible. I think it's on Prime.
Absolutely, dude. The bombshells it drops throughout, and you can clearly tell it's very inspired from other comics. Like there's Superman, like kind of knockoffs. They have Hellboy kind of knockoff character, but they do their own thing with it. They change things up, and it feels very smart writing. I really think so.
That's fair. That's fair. Probably moving on from that, freaking Old Dads.
Old Dads.
It's been like trending on Netflix and whatnot. It's Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've seen it.
Bill Burr, Bobby Cannavale, and Bokeem Woodbine. I don't know. It was about what you expect, Is
it a movie or a show?
This is a movie. It's a movie on Netflix.
That's
typical. Well, and that's been Bill Burr's. If you listen to his podcast, any of that stuff, it is that old dad vibe, and he calls himself out on his own shit, about, some of the boomer vibes he gives sometimes.
Yeah.
And I feel like they intentionally highlight that in this movie. They're all stubborn, can't really change. And then way later they see this man who's like a generation older than them, and he's realizing that he is to them what they are to everyone else, and
yeah,
kind of like when they actually look into a mirror about getting old and staying old versus
like coming of
a
age.
combination of or
into older adulthood, I guess.
Yeah, like a middle coming of middle aged.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's not like it didn't like pop out like crazy. It's not a movie I'd watch more than one. I don't regret watching it. It was good for a single watch. And
well, you feel like because you're a big comedy fan of like you're into this.
Yeah, and I'm a big Bill Burr fan as well. Yeah.
You feel like this is a good representation of him. Because he's been branching out a lot.
Well, like I said, I felt like, you definitely see it in his comedy, but I feel like podcasting, he does the Monday morning podcast and the just before Thursday afternoon, Monday morning podcast. It's a mouthful, but, it's a lot more intimate, and you get a lot more of those you could say old dad vibes, and you see that in his comedy, but it's like, shtick after shtick versus the realism. I feel like you get a little bit more. I'm not saying it's all, but he as much as he puts out, you can't hide it all, and you feel it, and he calls himself out, and that's what I think we like about people like Bill Burr, or even Joe Rogan, is them saying their thing, but also knowing that admitting that they're not experts, that they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and you probably shouldn't listen to what they have to say when it comes to realms of science and politics and things of that nature. But
you think
I don't know. What?
You think it's like kind of like him wanting to still kind of have roots in comedy, despite like kind of like still kind of going back on that even though he is kind of branching himself out as like more of just an actor as well. Like he's been in The Mandalorian, and he's done kind of a more serious character in The King of Staten Island, and there's
So I hear.
other things too where he's played a little bit more of a serious kind of role. He was in Breaking Bad as well, and not Breaking Bad, but Better Call Saul. I think Breaking Bad too, but played a bit of a side character that was a little bit more serious, But you think this is like kind of him like still trying to expand into comedies still?
Oh yeah, it was, it wasn't. Yeah, it was about these things. It was about comedy. It was about confrontation. It was about his buddies. It was, like I said, it wasn't anything that stuck out really big. It also wasn't anything, bad. I don't know. It was pretty good, I think. I'm looking up on IMDb. Apparently he played in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, in Breaking Bad, yeah.
Yeah. And of course his animated show F is for Family.
F is for Family, yeah.
Have you seen F is for Family?
I've seen parts of F is for Family. I haven't really watched enough to where I can really remember anything. I've been told to watch it.
That's fair. Yeah, I've watched all of it, and it was fun. It had good comedy, good tropes. A little bit of development in it for what the show was,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and they talk on some political and economic points, and could just, I don't know, just that old 70s culture, because that's what kind of the idea is like, is the whole growing up in the 70s kind of thing,
Oh yeah. Okay, it's meant to bring some nostalgia to people kind of his age, maybe.
Yes, or give us a glimpse into, ages before us,
Okay.
I don't know, but either way, old dad. It wasn't half bad. I feel like we talked a little too long on it though, but that's okay. I'm gonna bring this up because I know you've been wanting to talk about this forever.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Finally.
I did see it. I finally got around to it. Let's talk about it. You told me from the start that this was like Rocket's story, and you were pretty spot on that.
Yeah, it's Rocket's story, man, and I loved it, dude. It was very emotional, a lot of that.
Yeah, way more than I thought. Than I was expecting, at least from Guardians of the Galaxy. Arguably the least serious piece of Marvel besides freaking Deadpool.
We'll see.
Deadpool Marvel.
I'll kind of put they definitely lean into the comedy, and the comedy works the best. But I do feel like there's a lot of heartfelt moments in those Guardians movies. That it does have a heart to it. It does have an emotional core to it in each one of them. Like whether it was the father-son relationship in the second one, or just the found family feeling, and the Peter Quill overcoming his trauma with his mother in the first one. And then of course this one, the third one, I think was probably the most very, very intimate with Rocket's story, because the whole time Rocket has been kind of piss and vinegar throughout each one. You kind of want to know why he is the way he is, and this is that exploration of that.
Yeah, no, they did really good to do that.
And I think the villain was really good too. I really liked him. He was unique. I've never heard of the High Evolutionary before, but I liked his whole thing. It did kind of add to the comedy on some of the ways that he just kind of was like, oh, you're right, this is a failure. Let's try again.
He's kind of crazy with that, Well, and that's just he's trying to build like this perfect utopia, which is never going to happen,
Yeah, he's seeking perfection, and
as soon as he gets imperfection, he's going to just reset it and then try perfection again.
Mm-hmm.
Kind
of like a madness there, but I liked all the characters that were in it too. Even though we didn't get a whole lot of the Adam Warlock character, not as much as I think a lot of people were expecting.
Oh, the stuff with Gamora was pretty sad. to deal with.
Yeah, it was a lot to. There was a lot of ground having to be covered there, and that was. There were some times where it's like it was cringy, but it was intentionally cringy. Like you're like, shut up, Peter. Just stop. I know you hurt, but just stop.
Right.
Move
I'm
on.
gonna be real with you. When I watched this, I don't remember the dog. When the hell did the dog show up?
The dog, yeah, the dog was like.
When did they throw in the dog? I missed something.
So the dog had been in there, but like in the first and second one, but only like in glimpses as Easter eggs.
Okay.
But now this one actually like it had like a character there.
Was that Quill's dog? Whose dog was that?
Well, like I think the first time you see the dog, it's in the collector's room of collected items. I'm trying to remember what the dog's name is.
I don't know. Space Canine.
Cosmo. God.
Oh, of course, Cosmo the Cosmonaut. Okay.
Yeah. Cosmo was in it, but like only ever teased. And I thought there was gonna be like Howard the Duck coming in more, but like again, I think he was only relegated to like Easter egg status still, which they've been kind of doing since Howard the Duck is kind of like from the movie they made from him kind of did turn him into like
box office poison.
So I think they're kind of afraid to give him any real stuff to go on, which is fine. I'm fine with him just being Easter eggs throughout these movies.
Better to be a little there than nowhere.
Yeah, sure.
Though I'm not familiar with the duck, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's pretty. They made a movie a long time ago, the Howard the Duck, and it's a dumb movie, but it's a good thing they're showing actual restraint, which Marvel has not been doing. Is like lately with their movies, they have not been showing any real restraint with their comic book adaptations and stuff. Their stories, their movies. They're just kind of like throwing all these different characters into the universe, and it feels very directionless, so it's very hard for us to like look forward to something, I think. I mean, we could have a whole conversation on Marvel and
right
where its direction is going. They really need to just take what they had been building, because after Endgame, it just kind of became like this big stew of just new characters, new heroes, without really incorporating
all the heroes.
Yeah, they're all spread into their own independent movies, but they don't feel very connected, despite all being in the same universe. There's no ultimate overarching goal with these in mind. Like when you had the first Avengers movie, this had been feeling like it was building up to that moment where they'd all team up. And then it felt like they'd all have to team up to take on every one of their adventures in these movies would be like kind of like somehow linked in to the Infinity Stones or the Infinity Saga. But after the Infinity Saga is over with Endgame, it does feel very directionless. And I still enjoy the movies for what they are, but it's hard to look forward to them,
No, I can definitely feel that. We see that with a lot of other corporations too, but I feel like I'm going to talk back on that in a minute.
Okay.
Little Mermaid.
Oh, The Little Mermaid.
I saw The Little Mermaid. Have you seen the new Little Mermaid?
I haven't seen the new Little Mermaid. I don't think I'm going to. I'll be honest. I'm not really too interested in any of those like Disney remakes of like animated films. I've seen a couple, and I just wasn't really like impressed with any of them.
You see if you see the animated film, you don't need to see the live action because they're like almost not different in any way. All of them.
Yeah, and
I don't get what the whole internet was barking about the Little Mermaid being black. Like,
yeah,
it's the ocean, it connects all continents. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Forget that. It was so lazy and played so safe. That they couldn't, and I think that's why, when Disney dropped Pinocchio and Guillermo del Toro's freaking Pinocchio drops at around similar times, his blew Disney out of the water, and that's
Yeah.
because he didn't play it safe.
He didn't play.
You know, he didn't.
He was inventive
You
with
know,
his. It had a different feel.
what movie was I watching? That I text you. I'm like, I didn't know that dude. Oh, Hellboy.
Hellboy. Yeah.
I didn't know he did Hellboy.
Yeah, I straight up watched Hellboy like just the night before. Like I was showing Anita it because she never seen it before, and that was so crazy that you just texted me that like literally the night after I watched it. Like,
Yeah, no, I watched that with my family when I texted. I just got to watch it when I texted you that because like it was in the credits or whatever. And I'm like, I didn't know I didn't know he did this movie.
Oh yeah, but now you can
I've apparently been a fan of his for a long time, and I didn't know. Yeah, no, absolutely.
He's got a
Um,
he's got a certain vibe and like flavor to all his like kind of creatures that he has in there because there's like a certain love for their designs, I think. And
yeah,
there's an atmosphere I feel that follows a lot of his movies.
yeah, and a lot of uniqueness.
Yeah, and that unique
originality,
style, atmosphere.
even in an old story that's like you've heard 1,000 times, but this one's different.
Yeah, feels like there's like that spooky kind of atmosphere he brings to it that I love about his work, and I love the way that he sees monsters. Always comes with a fresh take to the movies that he makes. So, but like you said, because his was actually taking something unique, a unique style to it, it's why Disney, I think, is just failing with these live action remakes, because they feel soulless.
Pandering,
yeah, the pandering.
Well, exactly, and that takes us to the other topic. Did you watch that new South Park special?
The Pandaverse? Yeah.
The Pandaverse. I shots fired right on target.
Right on target.
Those fuckers.
Everyone sees Cartman scared of Kathleen Kennedy being under his bed the whole time. That was pretty funny.
Right. Oh, that's just it. They didn't even touch the mouse. They went after real people this time.
Yeah. An attempt to call him out and tell him stop doing this shit. It's not what people want. Like it. I see the thing is like the way that South Park handled this. So this was I think was a really good special. Probably one of my favorite specials they've done. Because
it was decent. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think they fully kind of like covered all the arguments involved in there and called them out, like just saying like, people who are like just hating on these movies before they come out, there's an often like a lot of like they come up with this hate mail and stuff like that, and they make it about it being woke. It's not because these movies aren't bad because they're woke, because they're race swapping or whatever. They're bad because they're uninspired. They're bad because they're boring.
And they're lazy.
They're lazy, yeah. Like, if you wanted to make a story and have diversity in it, the characters should have meaningful story. Like you talk about, like they talk about it very briefly, but in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse, both those movies are pretty universally loved, and they're very diverse. They have a very diverse cast, but it's because the characters are very rich. It's very inspired. Everything about that movie feels very unique and engaging, because just having different colored actors in a movie doesn't make it diverse. It's what you can do with the fact that they are different colored characters, how they grew up differently, how they have like different experiences, and being able to do that and not just make it a struggle movie, because I think we've had enough of those, but like having it be like a movie that does have a unique perspective because of their differences, not just swapping out a character and basically making the same character, just different colored.
They often tend to shoehorn that,
Yeah,
rather than making unique, original, and diverse characters. They just shoe in old characters.
yeah,
Which is what South Park points out so very well.
yeah. And I like that it's like they are saying that the real reason these movies are bad is because they are lazy and uninspired, not because they are just woke. Because I think that is lazy too. Because like they are just like, I've seen a lot of like the YouTube videos about just shitting on these shows or movies that have a lot of forced diversity in there. Like the biggest one I think is the Velma show, and they're saying it's bad because of how woke it's trying to be. It's not why it's bad. It's that the diversity of it is not why it's bad. It's bad because it's garbage. It's got so many other problems with it. Diversity isn't the problem.
Yeah, I haven't seen that Velma thing, but I've heard so many takes on it, all of them being negative, which doesn't make it what it is. It's hard for me to say anything without seeing it, but I think Green Rant did a good job at pointing out in one of the pitch meetings of it of allegedly it does the diversity change, but to say that it's not about race, but then like I guess a lot of the jokes are basically based on race or
Yeah,
Fred's little penis or something like that.
yeah. All the jokes in there felt very like mean spirited toward like all the backlash from like because like there a lot of this has been a response to these people who are writing hate mail, like the Eric Cartmans of the world who are just like really insecure and overly sensitive to this shit. That
Yeah, a lot of sorry, go on.
that are kind of a little bit racially motivated, like they're a little bit racist, and
Yeah.
then they double down and they just make awful shit because they're trying to pat themselves on the back for being brave for doing this thing, but it's not being brave. It's just kind of like doing a cheap move without any real like really saying anything with it.
Well, that's when we go back to the whole idea of pandering.
This whole
Yeah, and
yeah. Go ahead.
the idea of being brave, it's I think it goes something like the idea of being brave isn't, having a bunch of people clap for you. It's about having a bunch of people opposing you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're not doing the risky
and
thing there.
yeah. Well, and I haven't seen the Velma, so I really can't really say. But I've heard people say that it was basically Mindy Kaling just wanting to cosplay frickin' Velma, in an animated series.
Yeah. And
rather than expand her own twist on it.
well, it's like I think the Velma show is the reality of like the result of so much backlash toward the pandering and the race swapping and stuff. Like like all the hate that comes from that goes in, like the hate like it feeds into itself, like they're gonna try and do it. They're gonna pander even harder now, and then you get something like Velma, and it's absolute garbage. And then these soulless remakes of live action movies, and
yeah, they're not even that old.
They're not. And I think the biggest thing about the Panderverse episode was talking about laziness, and that kind of pandering is really lazy writing. Just like how they're talking about the handyman stuff, which I think was great. I think it was great. It really calls all of us as Americans out, dude. Like,
I don't know. It's like no one knows how to do anything anymore.
Yeah. They're all talking about how like you kids don't know how to do anything, and it's like, well, and then he's like,
I'm going to show you.
Show you how to do it. You call a repairman. You call the handyman. These are all skills that we all should know as like living, breathing people in the society, yet we don't know how to fix the simplest things that are like.
Well, that's it was just fixing an oven door, and he basically, would rather pull a portal into like the multiverse
Yeah.
Before he can manage to freaking fix hinges on a door.
He'd rather protest capitalism than fix the door on his oven.
Yeah. And the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Blame the
go on.
colleges, blame the system, but there is it is kind of dogging on us as Americans, which we really do need to see. We do need to look in the mirror and be like, yeah, we are kind of being pussies here. We need to fucking actually take some accountability here too. I think there is a lot of shady kind of bullshit with the way that colleges were kind of handled and the way that people's jobs are becoming threatened by AI. But
yeah, like we said, anything that doesn't involve hands. And even then, that's only for now.
Yeah. We need to be more self-reliant. We need to develop skills more than something that apps can replace,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And South Park, again, hit the nail on the head every freaking time.
Yeah. And I
covered all bases.
I was not expecting that plot line at all when I saw the Pandaverse. I thought it was going to be pretty much just focusing on the race swapping and the pandering of make him lesbian, make it a chick, make him gay. I thought it was just gonna be all about that, but they really
make him fucking gay.
I thought this one was their funniest episode, and I also, in a long time, I also wanted to point out them dogging on multiverse.
Yes, Rick and Morty's, all that stuff.
Yeah,
dude, Futurama did it recently.
Everywhere has a multiverse, dude. I was just watching, and I actually like the new Fiona and Cake Adventure Time stuff. They got the multiverse.
That is a perfect example. I do like the way they did that, though.
I do like the way they did it, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe has a multiverse now. DC has to do their multiverse. And so much of the way it's handled it's just lazy writing. But there is like Fiona and Cake, I do like it. I like the way it's handled in Invincible, which is very sparingly and hasn't really had a lot of involvement in the plot line. I think it's gonna be more self-contained in that one.
Yeah, a lot of them can do more self-contained. I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking the Fairly Odd Parents. It was like the TV Turner or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
doing all that stuff. Dude, Dragon Ball. They have multiverse, but it's limited to 12. But there was allegedly 18.
Oh.
Originally, but they're limited, and each one, and out of the 12, they're paired. So 6 and they all the pairs add up to 13. So 6 and 7 are kind of mirrors of each other, but not exactly. And it keeps going down with 5 and 8 and and all that stuff. But so it is multiverse, but it puts a cap on itself. It's not unlimited multiverses.
Yeah. But you got
where even Rick and Morty has a hard time handling it. That's why they have the whole Rick Sanctum or whatever, or whatever the wall is that makes it so the portals only go to universes that Rick's the smartest man in the universe.
Yeah, they had to,
because in the realm of infinity they basically had to cap themselves a little bit. Yeah,
and Rick and Morty, I think they suffer from a bit of that multiverse.
Well, they're probably the biggest. They're not the first ones to do it, but I think they were the catalyst in this big multiverse boom that we're seeing. Mm-hmm. Even though shows like Sliders or anything else have already done that long before.
I'm glad that they were calling that out, the multiverse thing. I'm waiting for them to call out a lot of the meta humor and lazy meta humor. I wish they would call that out more too. I see that in so many shows.
Fourth wall. Another Rick and Morty trope.
Yeah, where they're just doing lazy fourth wall breaks and expecting a laugh from it, just because Deadpool did it and it was really funny, but now everything is
good one, yeah.
Doing that,
Yeah.
So many comedies relying on that.
Yeah, well, you break the fourth wall so many times, just rubble now.
Yeah, it loses its specialness when everyone's doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other ones you got?
I saw The Big Short really recently. I did want to talk about The
It
Big
sounds so
Short.
familiar. Let me look that up.
Dude,
Go on.
it's about the 2008 housing market crisis.
Oh, I think I've seen this.
Dude, it is
Let me see it.
such a good movie, dude.
Shit, I take that back. I have not seen this.
Dude, you've got to check that one
Steve
out.
Carell?
Yes.
I haven't fucking seen this. Christian Bale? Ryan Gosling? Brad Pitt? What the fuck? I haven't seen this.
Dude, it is fucking phenomenal movie, dude. And those guys, like Steve Carell's character in there, dude, is like my favorite character I've ever seen Steve Carell do. Because I mean, what do you normally expect from Steve Carell as an actor?
40-year-old virgin.
Yeah, so comedies and shit, right? He's being silly, dude. He plays it. He plays it straight in this. He's very like solid acting in this, dude, and he was fucking great in it. I loved his character.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to check this out. It's obvious. It's at least got a super cast.
Yeah, it's got super cast. It was up for. I'm not sure if it won Best Picture, but it was nominated, and I remember seeing the Academy Awards when that was up. But it took me a long time to finally see it. But it was really the movie's fucking amazing. It did not win Best Picture. It was nominated, but it won Best Adapted Screenplay. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's some recognition.
Yeah, it was nominated for a lot, but that's the one it won. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just still reading on Big Short. So, I was gonna say the last thing I have on my list is stuff I've seen lately that might be worth talking about. Saw the FNAF movie on Halloween.
Oh, you watched it, huh?
On All Hallows Eve, yes. Yes.
All right. So I have not had high expectations for this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it was okay. Half of it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. My daughter is like a huge FNAF fan, and she was rather upset at its disloyalty to the lore.
Oh wow! So she being a fan of it didn't even like it.
No, well, I can't speak totally for her. I know she probably likes certain parts of it, seeing it, getting to see these guys come to life in a new perspective and all that. But like some of the plot and some of the tropes they did play with, and I did watch. I'm not huge on the FNAF, but I did watch well, and funny enough, Matt Pat's in it. He's in the FNAF movie for like a few seconds.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, if you know Matt Pat from like Film Theory, Food Theory, Style Theory, and what's the other one? Game Theory.
Game Theory. Yeah.
Unless I said that twice. Whatever. There's a fourth one. But he was in the FNAF movie for a minute. But I watched one of his videos talking about it. And yeah, they did bend some of the lore to basically try to pick, like, I don't know, do something with the movie. Yeah, I don't fully understand their logic behind it. But
yeah, they take in this property that people are familiar with, and they're like, let's change some shit. It's like
I know the security guard was pretty controversial. Her dad, and there's just a whole bunch of stuff. I don't want to give away too many spoilers for those who haven't seen it.
I mean, from what I
know,
hear,
it's not loyal to the lore.
Yeah. Well, like being that it's not loyal to the source material and the lore, that's like one of the biggest things I think that FNAF fans love is how in depth the lore is and how
the lore is. Oh man, dude, that's like half of Matt Pat's freaking game theory videos or freaking FNAF.
Yeah, that's
also, I guess Markiplier was really upset that he didn't get to go. He wasn't in the movie, but allegedly they're making a sequel, and allegedly the Markiplier is going to be in it. For any Markiplier fans out there.
Markiplier was, like, I think a big reason why that game got so much success because so many people watched him. Like that's how he got a lot of success, and that's how the game got a lot of success. I think was like because that shit went viral. Him playing FNAF.
Yeah.
Because I never.
Yeah. So I go on.
That was how I heard about FNAF, was through Markiplier, and I know
That's
a lot of other
interesting.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know, but I know that there's. I don't know. It's kind of hard. Like, I'm not a huge FNAF person, but I've played the games. I watched my kids play the games. She tells me little bits and pieces of lore randomly all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cute. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who this movie was for,
Yeah.
because I don't know if it was for the fans, and I think it was just for anybody. Kind of just
Yeah.
walk in and watch it. But they're also doing a sequel, so I mean they're continuing on. I don't know. I think they had the kid from Zathura in it.
Oh, Josh Hutcherson.
I think so.
Yeah. That was Josh
Freaking.
Hutcherson.
No, I don't know. He didn't do too bad, but also, like I said, I think the security guard was a pretty controversial one. But I digress. It was a cop in this one, but
Oh, really?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't fully understand it, but I know that movie was riddled with issues from the fans and from myself as just an ongoing viewer.
Yeah. So you'd say not touch? No touch?
I mean, watch it, but don't set your expectations too high.
Okay.
It's a FNAF movie. I mean, they've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah. Well,
And it's like, oh, watch the FNAF movie, but no, don't expect. I don't know. It wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be, and also it was just, ugh. I don't know. You just gotta watch it for yourself, I guess.
yeah. Like I said, I wasn't expecting much from this.
You shouldn't. But who knows? Maybe they'll do better in the sequel. But I don't know. It feels a little cash grabby.
Well,
Keeping that merchandising chain forever going.
yeah. Well, hopefully, like, if they do make. I feel like so many of these video game adaptation movies have a lot to learn from the success of, like, The Last of Us.
Right.
It being very faithful to the source material, that
Yeah.
it should, hopefully, people will see, hey, people just want to see this in a new medium. That's all I want to see. I want to see it be pretty much the same. Maybe expand on some things, do some things that you can do with the movie that you couldn't do with the game, but keep it loyal. Keep it loyal to the source material. Don't be changing stupid shit because you think you got better ideas. That's exactly why people hate book adaptations.
What's funny is I totally agree with you, but also at the same time, devil's advocate. I mean, we were just talking about Disney not taking jumps and always playing it safe and doing, practically word for word their own, their same old material in a different medium.
Well, it's the thing that I think is different is that it's the same medium. Like, you're just doing it.
Well, cartoon to live action.
Yeah, but that's still, like, all you're doing is just adding CGI instead of artistic drawings. The idea of doing it from, like, a book to a movie or a video game to a movie, there are different routes because you're not just following one character in a movie. You can expand out and show more of the rest of the world that you couldn't really see as the protagonist video game character. You can be more inventive with it while still being very loyal to the source material. And in the book, it comes to a lot of, like, how are these conversations or these things that are playing in the character's head, how are you going to communicate that to the audience without using uh, narration, So I think there is a big difference. I think there's still a lot of creative freedom, but, like, it almost, like, by keeping yourself to the source material, it makes you have to be inventive with how you're going to tell this story. I don't think it's lazy to do that.
Yeah, no, you're right. When we talk about, like, some of the little details, even on old tropes and stuff.
Yeah. And
I can't remember what.
And I think the biggest thing that they do when people dislike the adaptations is the movies generally play it a lot safer when they make their adaptation.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Well, it's about working with what you got, and I don't know, just doing what you can with it. I often think I once took an intro to literature class, and our teacher had us watch, among reading like some of the, I think Brothers Grimm versions or whatever, or some other old version of Beauty and the Beast. It was called La Belle à la Bête, and it came out like right after World War II. And it was like a black and white French musical. But, and it's Beauty and the Beast. I mean, I know that's done a lot now, even more so, but it was still an older trope then too. And they did, I think that one was really interesting, not in the musical aspect, but in how they took physical mediums and just played with it. You'd go into a hallway, and the hallway is like filled with, it's just arms through a wall with holding candlesticks.
Oh.
And they like follow you a little bit. They kind of pull themselves towards you as you walk down the hall. The statues were like actually people, like standing still and like moving their eyes around and stuff. It's just small little details, that can easily be overlooked, but make it so magical, but also keep it within keep it within like the original lores and stories and stuff like that, but still playing with everything else, especially in the medium that they're in. To your point.
Yeah. I think there's still a lot of creativity and good direction that comes with adapting a movie, or a book, even if it is like, because like you look at The Godfather. The Godfather is pretty much exactly like the book. They just don't have everything. They had to take some of what was in the book and put it in the second movie, but they adapted it so faithfully. And I don't think a lot of people know that, like how faithful, and that's kind of lauded as one of the greatest movies of all time, But it was extremely faithful to the source material, and it was also still had to be very well directed, very well written. I just love to see more of that kind of love for the source material and the things, because the fans are expecting that, and you make weird changes. Sure, there's a risk involved, and maybe it's better, but I think most of the time people are not going to like it. I generally don't.
Yeah, that's fair. And yeah, and it's well, especially because it's not art; it's corporate art. It's about making money, not expressing an idea, or you know what I mean.
Like adapting something.
Yeah. I feel like a lot. Well, in mainstream media is what I'm talking about. We talk the big names and all that stuff, especially the mouth hoarding. Basically old stories. That should have been in the public domain. I don't know. They just like readapted into their own thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like when certain adaptations happen and the story is telling, like that movie adaptation is telling a different theme, like telling a different message, but it is still a very resonant message. I think it's still successful, and I think that's good. But there's also, like, with these adapted like these stories, the reason why they're successful is because they already had a message. And I think you should try to, if you're going to try and make money off of this, you should try and share that message that they wanted to tell with a broader audience, because movies are a lot more accessible to a lot of people than video games and books. You're reaching different audiences, but you should still try and keep the heart of that message still there.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't say it better myself. Oh. Anything else, or?
I think that's good for right now.
Well, with that, hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving and all that, and we'll see you for the next holidays coming up in December.
All right. Love you guys.
All right.
Good night.
Yeah, thanks to everyone. Good night.
Come on now, you guys. You guys. You guys. You guys. You are the real heroes. You fucking cocksucker.